A very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining our forum today on future of graduate employment. This is actually a collaboration between Sunway Test and Take Charge Asia. So who is Take Charge Asia? So Take Charge Asia is actually a boutique HR consultancy firm specializes in talent development. And I would like to take this opportunity to also extend a note of thanks to Mr. Teo Ising, the director of Sunway Test, and Ms. Lam Pei Wah, the head of the ACCA program, and her team for supporting us. And of course, today's session will not be possible without the generous and unwavering support of the top accounting firms in Malaysia. We are very privileged to have with us today BDO, EY, KPMG, and PwC. Now, before I introduce the panel, right, I would like to quickly share with you the structure of our forum today. It is going to be a 90-minute conversation with 4 panelists, and our objective is really to give you some insights on the latest state of play of the job market, to give you some idea and broaden your perspective to be smarter with your job search strategies, and understand what actually matters in application, and how to be more ready in the future of works. And we are actually very encouraged to receive many good questions from all of you. In fact, we've got almost 80 questions, coming our way, all right? But because, given that we only have 90 minutes, I will not be able to get the panelists to answer all the questions. But the good thing is, we are able to bucketize a lot of the questions that you have asked into a few major themes. All right, so rest assured that we are going to cover the common key areas that matters most to you. Okay, but of course, if you feel that you still have a lot of questions that you want to ask the panel, please feel free to type into the chat box. I believe the chat box there is on the right hand side if you are navigating using your laptop, and for those who are using your mobile, it will be at the bottom of your screen. Okay. Yeah, so keep the question coming, and also please share with us any action, feelings that you may have. Yeah, if the some of the comments have come on board, you have a point of view to share, please do post, onto the chat box so that the rest of the viewers, know your views as well. Now, the only ask that I have for all of you out in the audience is that when you post the remark, please be respectful and professional. Okay, now just to warm everybody up before we kickstart the session, perhaps for all of you who are out there, you can give us a thumbs up, all right, and cheer us on so that I also know that all of you are fully present with us. So let me introduce myself. Okay, hi, I am CL Goh, your host and moderator today. I'm from Take Charge Asia. Like you, I'm actually a qualified accountant, but have now chooses to specialize in talent development. And I have been Take Charge Asia have been very fortunate, to have a couple of projects working in collaboration with Sunway Test, namely the Nurturing Business Champion project. Perhaps some of you out in the audience have seen us before when we are moderating the NBC championship. And we are also running the resume writing and interviewing skill shop for Sunway Test. So I'm very honored to be your host this afternoon. Now, for this afternoon, we have 4 very distinguished leaders. They play a critical role in driving the talent agenda and in shaping the leaders of the accounting profession. So let's welcome them to the virtual stage today. First up, if I can welcome Ms. Bonnie Tam, BDO, Head of People and Support. Okay. Next up, Ms. Lee Su-fen, EY Partner, Malaysia Talent Leader. EY ASEAN Diversity and Inclusiveness Leader. Next up, Ms. Monsi Siu, KPMG, Executive Director, People, Culture and Performance, and Inchek Azizan Zakaria, PwC, People Partner. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So how are we feeling today, our panel? Good?
Very good, thank you.
All right.
Everyone as well.
Good, very good.
Okay. Right, fantastic. You know, this is indeed an unprecedented time, isn't it? Who would have thought, right? 6 months ago, we are able to, have a chat with each other virtually from the comfort of our office, or from our home for that matter, right? And addressing a big crowd out there who may be having a cup of coffee in their hands, right?
Yeah, or wearing pajamas as well.
All right, exactly. I'm sure all those who are wearing pajamas out there are glad that we can't see you online. Okay, right, great. So I think to warm things up, I will get the panelists to have a quick introduction of themselves. And at the same time, I would also like to ask them a question. That is to share with us what is one word to describe the accounting profession now. Now, for all of you who are in the audience, if you also have that one word, right, in your mind about accounting profession, please feel free to type in the chat box and share with us your point of view. Okay, so perhaps I get Bonnie to kickstart the session first.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Choi Ling. Hi, I am Bonnie and I'm from BDO. I head the people and culture as well as the support services within BDO in Malaysia. Prior to taking on this role, I was a partner in the advisory division. And like all of you out there, I'm also a chartered accountant by profession.
Okay.
And that one word, shall I share my one word now, Choi Ling, or shall we wait for everyone?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. Wow. That one word, it takes more than one word, I think, to describe it. But if I had to choose one word, I would say it's transforming.
Oh, okay. That's it. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sufan?
Thank you, Charlene. So as Charlene introduced earlier, my name is Sufan. I head the talent agenda, the function for EY in Malaysia, my first job. My second job, I also look after the D&I agenda for our ASEAN region. So, just like most of us on the panel here, we don't just do one thing at a time, which is, if you're looking at creating a career or cultivating a career in our profession, depending on how you look at it, you do multiple things at any one time from day one. So one word to describe the accounting profession. I was going to say transforming, Bonnie, but I think a play on that word, a state of change, evolving. I think we are all on the same path. Just like Bonnie and Charlene, I'm also a trained chartered accountant. I was in the audit profession for a good 10 years. Before that, before my talent career, which is now longer, most of my audit career was actually spent in Singapore. Over to you.
All right. Okay. Monsi?
Hi, thanks, Choi Ling. My name is Monsi and I'm the head of HR in KPMG. So I look after those people who interested to join KPMG. I also look after their performance management, secondments, mobility, the whole end-to-end process of HR. And I think I'm the only odd one here who doesn't have an audit background. Azizan also is an auditor, but my background prior to joining the HR fraternity is in marketing, actually, marketing and advertising promotions. So very different from HR, but still, very people oriented. That one word for me is really about the accounting profession right now. I think for me it's invigorating. It has taken a pandemic, right, to really ask us to look at things differently, from different perspectives. So it's really invigorating the whole profession, making us look at it differently, the way we work, the way we deal with people like yourself, students, and of course with our clients as well. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Monsi. Azizan.
Hi, my name is Azizan. I'm one of the audit partners in assurance in PwC. At the same time, I've been tasked to be the people partner. And a little bit of background about me. I've been in the firm for 25 years now. I went to Cardiff University to do my degree. And then after that, I did my ACCA in London, and then I came back and then started working in Pricewaterhouse. And 25 years later, I'm still here. Okay. And, one word, I think probably I will choose the word agile, because as an accountant, we need to be agile to adapt with a lot of things. You know, with the current pandemic, the current economic downturn, challenges due to businesses that's going through difficult times. So we need to be agile to be able to cope with a lot of things. And at the same time, working from home, we need to be agile in making sure that we are able to work from home while dealing with our clients and so on. So I guess that's what I think our profession should, be doing right now.
Okay. Wow, thanks for the great introduction, my panelists. Yeah, if you look at folks out there with all our experience adding together, right, you are looking at no less than 100 years of experience. Looking at the screen now, right? And with that, I also would like to say a good thank you and introduce to you. Perhaps you won't see her. Is actually Miss Shirley Lim. She is one of the top affiliate of under the ACCA accounting program in Sunway Test, and she has so kindly to lend her presence to us in our e-flyer poster that you see earlier on. All right, so she is one of those young accountants who is hitting the road running out there. So we wish her the best. And if Shirley, if you're out there in the audience, please do say hi to all of us. All right. And thank you for being there with us virtually and promoting the forum on our behalf, as well as on Sunway Test behalf. Okay. All right. So I think as you can hear from our panelists, the word transforming, evolving, invigorating, and even being agile, right? I think all of us, same as for myself, having been 25 years in the accounting profession, I can see all the different external changes that have impacted the profession, in terms of the type of service, right? The accountant profession offer even our own image, right, as a professional accountants out there. So today I would like to, as you said, we are transforming, is being agile. We are going to tackle two main challenges that we are seeing today, facing us, right? One of which, of course, is pandemic, COVID-19. Okay, and the second one that we felt that is really impacting how we are going to look at the profession in the near future to come is really about IR 4.0, right? The onset of the digital transformation. Hence what Bonnie and then Supan were saying, transforming with the onset of the artificial intelligence, and therefore the need for all of us, to be agile, to keep ourselves invigorate, to face the changes to come. Okay, so first stop, I'll probably get the panel to look at the first challenge that we are facing now, pandemic COVID-19. Although I guess in Malaysia, we are in some form of relaxation, on the MCO, going into the fourth month, of the lockdown, and we are seeing now some form of relaxation coming on board. I guess, it's always tops in the mind of government, the business community, and even you and me, the working community. It's always tough to balance between life, being safety, and livelihood, isn't it? Yeah, the economic, yeah, to be able to still bring back pay home, to have put food on the table. And for the graduates out there, what's the job market going to be like, right? So first stop, therefore, I would like the panel to look at this question. How has the pandemic affect the business of the accounting profession? Okay, so perhaps with that, maybe I invite Sufen to share with us EY's point of view. What have the EY experience been, with the pandemic?
Thank you. So maybe I should answer these questions from a few angles. One is from the operations angle. The other one is probably, what you mentioned about the livelihood, the actual business, the dollars and cents and all.
Yeah.
From an operational standpoint, we've been in this state of play since March 18 for a good 4 months now. And I am very happy to report that we have not stopped our operations. We just pivoted very quickly, like what we mentioned earlier, right? Having to transform almost overnight the way we operated. For the longest time, the 4,000 people in the firm, we've got 16 locations or more. I'm losing count, getting more and more because of the amalgamation and acquisitions in the market. From brick and mortar, mostly, to 100% working from home since MCO started. And we continue to work from home today, even though we are in RMCO, with only 15% of our people allowed back to the office at any one time. If you're not out at client's place, you're not working from home, you might be in the office because there are needs, but we are only allowing, due to the social distancing, the health and safety requirements, 15%. But happy to report that we've not stopped our client service. We've not stopped our people engagement internally and externally. And everything has just, transformed and, quickly transitioned to a virtual platform, which, in the words of my country managing partner, and during one of our BCP meetings, the Business Continuity Plan Committee meeting, we used to complain, and I'm sure my panelists here, Azizan, you will know this, and Bonnie as well, we complain about how much we spend on technology. We complain about, investment in learning, investment in hardware, software. But you know what? We were so happy that we made those investments all the time, consistently and regularly upgrading ourselves to the extent that business did not stop. So that's from the operations side. The other side will be about the business. Just like any other businesses out there, we are a real for-profit organization. To a certain extent, we're not immune to what's happening out in the external market. But the good thing is, professional services, we have the breadth and the depth with our global structure, regional structure, and the ability of the people to do what they need to do and transition very quickly to what the market needs. So I'm happy to report that because of the breadth, there are businesses, of course, that are doing better. The restructuring business, the tax business, because of the tax incentives and all that, the consulting business, because of the digital transformation, they are doing, I would say cautiously, maybe okay under the circumstances. But there are plots of our businesses would, of course, be looking at maybe a bit more challenges because of the demand in the market. So I'll stop there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is good to know that you can leverage on the investment, right? With all the technology that you have plowed in the last couple of years, and to see that really shaping up and quickly get the team together without impacting the operation too much, right? Fantastic. And I can hear that in terms of business also seems to be quite business usual, although there's some new realities to need to get used to. Yeah.
So I won't say business as usual, Chow-Ling. It won't be business as usual, but we are trying to balance the books, trying to manage the best that we can, like most businesses out there.
Yeah. So perhaps now I turn to Azizan. How about PwC? Would PwC sort of experiencing almost the same thing like what Sufen have just shared? What are some of the challenges that PwC face?
Okay, thanks, Choy-Ling. So similar to EY, we have been investing quite heavily on technology. And if you could remember, Choling, when you were in PwC, then we used to be using team assets and so on since in the 90s. So this is the paperless working paper that we have been using for quite a long time, and we have been gradually, advancing our technology. And right now we're using Aura, whereby everything is being done on real-time basis.
Right.
And so that means wherever you are, you will be able to document your work papers. At the same time, on the other side, people can actually see what you do. And we also use the PwC Connect, which is a depository system where the client can actually monitor the list of information that require from them. So all this investment has actually we can see the benefits, now. So in fact, during the MCO, before the MCO, in fact, we decided that we would be working from home, and we did it within 24 hours. And right after that, then the government announced that everyone will have to stay from home. So we actually prepared ourselves already. So thank God for that. And then we get our, we continue with our work. We continue to communicate with our clients to make sure that they provide us the information that we need to complete the work. Whether you're in insurance or tax or consulting, everything is the same. So perhaps maybe some information will be much slower because some of our clients are actually not working. We try our best to make sure that we do our work, So business is as usual. In fact, right now, even though the government has actually relaxed, in terms of social distancing, how many people are allowed to be involved in any large gathering, but we have our own global policy to make sure that we don't get ourselves exposed. For example, we cannot have a meeting internally with more than 25 people at the same time. And if you want to go to a meeting at a client, you got to make sure that we get our client to observe the relevant SOPs and so on. But if there is no need for you to go to the office or no need for you to go to the client office, we must continue work from home.
Sure.
So it's a new normal,
Correct. Yeah, the new adapting. I mean, exactly like you say, being agile to quickly assimilate to the new reality, right? But having said that, there's a lot of questions out in the audience mind, right? Now you're working virtually. How do you still ensure the productivity is happening, right? You are still in touch with your manager. You know what's happening. What kind of challenges you actually face in terms of the working culture now, right? So perhaps I'll turn to Monsi to share with us what are some of the good, the bad, and maybe the ugly, you have seen in KPMG, right? What are the top three, that you would like to share? Yep.
Yeah, I think just like, Stephen and Azizan and also maybe Bonnie later on, in hindsight, we were very lucky. Yeah, our timing was just perfect, right? The investments that were made 2 years ago in technology just bore fruit overnight, right? And things like all the Microsoft tools that enables collaboration, productivity, effectiveness at work, just made it so much more easier to change and transform to working from home. So I think that was something that really helped us. And but there were many horror stories that we heard, because not every company out there, organization out there is in the same level of maturity in terms of technology adaptation, right? So there were stories like their server burned or crashed when everyone tried to log in. They were, I think, overnight going out to buy laptops, to be given to their employees. I mean, just as basic as not even having laptops. So we had none of those challenges, and I think we were very, very blessed. But but I think the other part of it is really the challenge that comes from working from home and all that. Yes, level of productivity needs to be maintained. The collaboration, the engagement between managers and their teams that needs to be tracked as well. But it all boils down to one word: trust, right? I mean, if you have trust in your people and vice versa, I think those issues are not that not that hard to tackle. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear that, the 3 out of the 4 firms here today, in terms of businesses, is really a quick shore up, and the team, is really learning about how to continue to manage the productivity, amidst this new reality. Now, my next question is going to be the $1 million question that all our audience out there are waiting to hear from the panel today, is how has the pandemic, right? I understand your recruitment and all that, your operations still, ongoing, things are working in order. But how has the pandemic actually affect your recruitment strategy? And are you still hiring? Okay, maybe I get Bonnie to tackle this $1 million question first.
Thank you for the $1 million question, Trailing. Well, I think when the pandemic came in on the 18th of March, we were all staying at home. So naturally, that has caused deferment in the intakes that we had planned for the months ahead. And so we were not able to take in recruits that we had agreed, that we said we will take them in at that point in time. And now, when we are working from home, we are looking at the market situation as well. Yes, the pandemic has come in, and it has basically brought a global recession worldwide, and businesses have been affected. A lot of our clients have been affected as well, although I think when they talk about the accounting profession, it is a profession that in good times and in bad times, we still need accountants. So we are still busy, we are still doing a lot of work, but we need to also watch how the market is changing. And the market is changing very rapidly, in the sense that what are the industries now that are going to be affected? How long more are they going? Is the recovery going to come in? And I think all these monitoring of the situation is very important. So we need to look into it and see, right, the kind of work that is going to be expected as well. Yes, the bread and butter type of work, like statutory audit, like tax compliance, it's going to be there. But there will be the other types of work, the advisory types of works, like tax advisory, or even some of the corporate exercises. There will be some pockets that's going to go up. For instance, the restructuring type of work, corporate rescue. I think now with the moratorium of loans that are coming up in September, we are all waiting to also see how the market is going to react to that.
Right.
We have a lot more companies now that may face challenges in their cash flows and their financial constraints.
I see.
We are also looking at tax. Yeah,
okay.
So I think we need to monitor the market and see how it goes, and then really looking at where do we need to bring in the people to support the needs of our clients.
So it looks like in terms of your recruitment strategy is very much driven by all these few key drivers, the businesses out there, and therefore the need of resources. Okay, but I still need to ask you a very direct question. So for this year, are you still recruiting?
Well, we are doing on a very needs basis. Okay. So certain skill sets, for instance, cybersecurity, perhaps. Some of the that's right. So very much on a needs basis, looking at
need basis,
pockets.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How about for Monsi, for KPMG experience? How has that in terms of your intake for, let's say, in 2020 now, right? Are you still looking at recruiting? I think especially the fresh graduates for this year.
Yeah. Yes, we are definitely still recruiting. Although the criteria, well, we probably be a little bit more stringent and a little bit more picky. Meaning, you really have to stand out from the rest of the other candidates. I mean, you're going to be in a pool of people who have the same sort of degree and qualifications as you, so you really need to stand out. But audit is one part of the business, right? But we still have tax, we still have advisory, and even within audit, there's also the other types of business that is arising, from technology-driven kind of business. Things like data and analytics, right? Data analytics, I mean, where you need tools and skill sets to help go through and filter out all those big data in order to give our clients better insights and value add. So those kind of skill sets would also be needed, and if you have an audit background, that is also very helpful. That's just one area that's emerging. The other one would be information risk management. Information risk and technology and audit combined together, given the nature of our client's business, who is heavily dependent on technologies these days, right? So you'll need a different types of skill set to help them do their audit as well. So still hiring. Don't worry.
So I think for all the our future leaders out there who is listening in, right? Obviously, it is a challenging market out there, right? A few key drivers, even for our top accounting firms, right, is pretty much driven by need out there. Of course, selection criteria now will be more stringent, and for not for a better word, it is actually employers' market out there. But as what Monsi also shared, there are other areas that perhaps you need to look beyond the conventional audit or tax. So restructuring, consulting, risk governance, those are the areas that perhaps you may need to explore and exploit those opportunities. Now, having said that, right, we talk about 2020. I want to move on to Azizan, right? You being one of the key lead partners in audit that's servicing a lot of your clients out there. What are some of your observations in terms of their recruitment strategy? Some of your clients, hire some new emerging trends that have come out that they are looking for people now, especially fresh graduates with an accounting background.
Okay, Charlene, thanks for that. Two of my largest clients are actually dealing with essential services. Number one is a company that is actually providing services in utilities, and during the COVID-19 MCO, more and more of their services are being rendered because people stay at home. So business has not been really affected, and I believe they continue to recruit. The other client of mine, which is a very large PLC, also deal with essential services, which is basically production of food product, and obviously when more people eat at home, they need to supply more food, at the retail mall, and also shopping mall, and also all supermarkets. So their business has not been really affected apart from the production, because certain movement had been restricted. But in terms of job opportunity, I believe they also are looking for people, especially in finance, because one of the concern I have, which I raised with the audit committee during the last quarter review, I actually explained that their finance function needs to be beefed up, and they're looking for people. So so certain businesses which are showing better than usual results, they will definitely be looking for people. And there are certain industries which have been adversely impacted, and maybe not looking for people. So we what the future leaders are supposed to do right now is trying to explore and do some research and see which are the industries which require people, and try and explore.
Yeah, that's right. I think for a lot of our audience out there, I think it's very natural, if I can imagine, 30 years back when I'm a fresh graduates like them, right? we are always, quite, focused on going into the accounting firm, go for the usual conventional type of position. Okay, but I think given the challenge that we are facing these days, and also in the business community, for sure, I think this is a time, in fact, for you to explore other opportunity, as our panelists shared with you, the different industry, and to really look out for those that are actually standing out now, in the market and still employing, and really it's about your courage to explore and try to adapt. Who knows, you may create a brighter path for yourself out there. Okay, now having said that, now I'm going to dive in, right? A lot of the questions that have come in for our audience, I can tell you probably half of the question is really about what kind of skill sets, values, and attitudes that the firms are looking out for, so that they can, prepare themselves well, when they apply for those job application, right? For that, I will turn to Sufen. Perhaps, how would our young graduates here know, what kind of skill set, qualification, and requirements that you are looking for? Where do they actually find out how, they make sure that they reply those requirements?
Yeah. So we are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic currently, but I would dare say that even without the COVID-19 pandemic, what I'm going to share in a while will be relevant. It's just that the onset has prompted all of us to start thinking, you know what, we really have to accelerate the skill sets and the acquiring of such skill sets in our people. It makes us do things in a more urgent manner. So with or without COVID-19, in the IR 4.0 era, we are looking for people. I think first and foremost, there are two parts. One is the soft side, one is the hard skills. Some of our panelists have already mentioned some of the hard skills just now, in the sense that whatever your background, whatever years you spent in university studying or reading, we can't run away from the fact that technology-related skills will be, if not needed, will be good to have, at least on an awareness level, depending on your role. Some roles will require you to be maybe at the mastery level. Some roles may be proficient. Some roles would be at maybe entry level understanding. But we can't not know now what is, blockchain on an awareness level. What is AI? What is IoT? Or what is UI UX? Those sort of things have become typical jargon. For people like me, Zizan spoke about 25 years. I spent 30 years. I am struggling to also learn, but I cannot not at least be aware of what these are. So I would say the hard side, we are all very, I think, without having to guess too much, we will all come to a same conclusion. Technology-related skill sets. The more you know, the better it will be, because it gives you the ammunition that you need. The other one would be the soft side, which is slightly harder, I would say. We are looking at things like curiosity, asking better questions. We are asking people to be able to have growth mindset. That means not be boxed in. Look at the situation, embrace change, and think about growth. The other one is about complex problem solving. Why do clients pay us? All the firms on the panel here, we are here simply because we have clients to serve, right? So why do clients pay us? Because they've got complex issues that they need people to help solve. So if our young people, the future leaders, unable to manage complex problem solving, that's not much good, right? So complex problem solving, cognitive agility. What you learn today may not be relevant tomorrow or 2 months or 2 years. And we've experienced that, in our lifetime. Bonnie, myself, and Azizan, we've been in the profession. We realized very quickly one of the keys is really to learn and unlearn, and not think too much about it. Just get on with life. The other one, I guess, versatility. You need to be versatile and not to be too hung up about, I did accounting, should I be an accountant? Just be versatile and think about what's in front of you and grab the opportunity and try to, enrich yourself. Yeah.
Wow, that is a really host of very useful tips out there for you, right? In terms of how do you keep, unlearn, relearn new skills to upgrade yourself, right? So that you can go there and be more, you become, I guess, advantage, right, for yourself when you compete with the rest out in the market, right? So for Bonnie, what do you think? Anything else to to add on to Sufen? What have Sufen covered? And I guess also perhaps an extension of that is also, when our young leaders, when they join the accounting profession, right? What do you think that they can do to contribute to the success, and building their career, in the firm? Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Trailing. I would say in the accounting profession, if they want to go into the accounting profession, it is a challenging profession, because we service clients. Clients are very demanding, and we have the need to give that exceptional client servicing. So tenacity is very important, tenacity from learning the technical skills, from developing yourself constantly. As Sufen say, you have to change with the times. All of us here are learning, even though we put together, we are more than 100 years old. I bet you we are still learning.
Yes.
I wish I could learn as fast as some of the young friends out there. But this is the reality of it. We keep learning all the time because times are changing, and what is important is to be staying relevant.
Yeah.
So when it comes to how do we bring success and how do we bring value into the work that we do, having that growth mindset is important, because that's where the continuous learning comes in. Having an open mind to pick up things you may not have learned, coding, for instance, in the accounting profession, accounting qualification. But I'm sure that has value now in this current situation and in this current market. And I think soft skills is always, always very, very important. Not forgetting, the ability to communicate, the ability to collaborate. We do not know everything ourselves, but being resourceful, knowing where to look for answers, knowing who to work with to be able to deliver a holistic problem solving and solution to our clients is important. So the ability to be agile, like what Azizan has shared, So all these skill sets is important.
Okay.
And you can learn it from any kind of industry. Any job that you grab up front, you are actually learning all these kind of skills. So do not worry that if you love your dream to go into an accounting profession, but now maybe it's challenging, take up the opportunity to develop this kind of skills in other areas. It will be valuable to you anyway.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you have a whole list of the skill required in terms of both mindset, attitude, behavior, values that you need to adopt for yourself now. Being the tenacity, to follow through, to have the courage, I guess, to also being able to try out new things is really quite essential. At this point in time, right? Now, the other thing that on tops of our graduates' mind is also how has the pandemic, given that we are now all working from home, right? How has it affected the entire hiring process, the selection criteria for that, right? Perhaps on this front, I like to invite Monsi to share with us, in terms of the hiring process, is it still the same before or what has changed?
All right. Okay, thanks. So, we are, engaging with you students virtually right now. So this is one of the ways that we have been actually interviewing and engaging with our, with the students out there. So, as all the other panelists have said, the pandemic just accelerated the need for us to quickly pivot to use technology in our day-to-day activities. So one thing that you need to be aware of is be comfortable speaking to a laptop. Okay. It is not easy because you are speaking to an object, right? So it's like there's no response at all. So be comfortable, right? So that's one of the ways that we have changed in terms of engaging and interviewing our candidates. And criteria wise, as I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit more stringent because there's just like you mentioned, Choi Ling, is the employer's market. So we've got so many more brilliant students to choose from. So how do we distinguish one from the other, and it's all through your achievements and what you've done, right? So those would be some of the ways that we are doing recruitment and engaging students.
Okay. So I think for all our audience out there, right, you hear from the panelists in terms of skill set required and all that. And of course, the position you require, all of them come with their specific selection criteria, for example. So I would really encourage all of them to explore the website of all the firms, right? Look at the job description, right? What is required? Because I do receive quite a lot of questions to, ask me, I would like to ask the panel, is results very important? What do you look for and all that? Of course, different position will require different requirements. So please do read those job description carefully and learn how to craft out that resume, right? And be prepared for that interview. So on this front, I'm going to move to Azizan, right? Being in the firm for so many years, working with different clients, and I'm sure you have recruited many young talents, for the firm before. Perhaps you could share with us what are the top 3 tips that you have seen so far that, those resume that stand out to you, things that people do so well in interview, that manage to clinch them a position, in the firm. What would be your tops, in terms of advice to our young leaders out there in terms of how to make their resume stand out, and also when in an interview, how can they carry themselves well?
Thanks, Choi Ling. I think before that, why not I share with the future leaders what we do in terms of going through the applications that we receive and so on. First of all, we receive all the CVs, and then from there, then we will filter which are the ones that probably will meet the criteria. Then the next process is to make sure that they go through, we have this program, which is like an AI program that we invested in to look into the behavioral skills. And just to make sure that whether the candidate will fit into our profession. Okay, so we don't really look so much into their results. Of course, results play a very important role, but sometimes people who get good results may not have the right behavioral skill. So it has to be a combination of those. So once we look at that, normally we get the result very quickly. Then the person will also got to do an English test, because at the end of the day, the person needs to know how to communicate well with our clients, because no point having good results if, let's say, the person cannot speak well, cannot articulate, cannot ask the right questions and so on. Then during the interview, we look at 5 core areas. Number 1 is leadership skills. Basically, whether, in terms of whole leadership, the person has got the ability to lead. Even though the person is still a junior, if you have the signs of being able to lead in the future, we can actually see that, Then we look at whether the person has got good technical skill. So these technical skills where the person must be able to demonstrate, the analytical skill. Because no point, getting good results by being, if the person cannot apply common sense, how would you be able to try and, dissect information given by client, whether it makes sense or not? So normally we'll ask questions where the person needs to demonstrate the ability to apply, analytical skill. Then we look at business acumen, because what's the point of getting good results if you cannot link business with numbers? Because financial statements basically tell stories behind the business of a client, for example. So you can actually see the linkage and everything. So the ability to be able to see that will give very good indication whether the person has got good potential or not. Then global acumen and inclusiveness. ability to adapt. For example, that's why being agile is very important. How the person can actually demonstrate that is by demonstrating or explaining to the interviewer that the person has actually worked, in projects, being able to mix around and deal with various people and so on. And that's where relationship comes in, because no point not being able to connect with other people, because you need to develop that relationship with your clients, with your teammates, because if you can't do that, then you won't be able to fit into the profession. So all these things are, in a nutshell, some of the key things that we look at. But of course, there are many other things like, basically EQs and so on, like what Shu Fen shared earlier. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, our audience out there, right? The whole list of hard skill, soft skill, right? That you need to get yourself ready in between time now. This is a bad time, in fact, for you to upskills on those areas that if you find yourself perhaps you're not as strong, so that you stand a better chance, in finding your path out there, or to kickstart your career. Okay. Now with that, I would like to just pause for a second to look at the live comment to see whether there's any question that sort of in the live chat that we wanted to address here, right? If not, I would like to really go on now. I think, the panel have just shared with us some really good tips for you, giving you an insights in the job market, right? I guess in the next 6 to 12 months, right, is going to be a lot on how the business community impact by the pandemic. Recruitment will be very much on a need basis, and selection criteria obviously is going to be much more stringent. But worry not, there are still quite a lot of bright spots out there. The key is really for you to go and explore and exploit. And hearing from the panel, the list of soft skill and hard skill that is important for you to gain a foothold, in the industry, be it in the accounting profession or even other industry. Those are some of the evergreen, I would say, right, going forward, being agile, learning some of this new skill, especially where technology is concerned, will be very, very helpful for you to allow you to have that competitive advantage as compared to others. So now I'm going to move on to, right, we are indeed in a challenging time, right? From the COVID-19 pandemic, we are still having the onset of IR 4.0 coming in. And in fact, in the last couple of months, right, there are some strong views that actually say that accountant may be rendered redundant. Okay. And I also hear even among my own relatives and friends, the parents are worried. They ask me, because I'm an accountant, they say that, hey, should I get my kids to take up an accounting degree, right? Because how is the profession going to look like, in the next few years, by the time they come out? So I would like to really hear from the panel, when people say the accountant may be rendered redundant, very strong view here. So is it a myth or a fact? So perhaps I invite Bonnie to tackle this for us. What's your point of view?
Thanks, Chui Ling. Well, is it a myth or a fact? I think it can be a bit of both. It can be a fact if people do not change. If the way accountants work had not changed, if they still did the calculations and stuff like that, where now technology can do it in a faster, technology can do it faster with more accuracy, and it can do it overnight, doesn't have to rest, then I think if the mindset of these accountants are, this is my job, then definitely it is a fact they are going to be rendered redundant. But for professional accountants, that's not what we do. We are advisors. What we do is that we know technology has come on set, and technology has been, I think, one of the wonderful inventions that's come into our world, right? It's made working a lot faster, a lot more efficient. And so as accountants, as with any other profession, you need to utilize technology to help you work. And we are, as advisors, we are not there to just produce a report and say, here is your report. When we see clients, we understand what are their business issues. We help our clients to resolve problems. And this is where the skill sets of the accountants come in. We are the ones that analyze things for them, understand their business, and with the information that we gather using the AI or the technology that now produces a lot more scenarios for us to understand and evaluate, we use that and we help the clients solve their problems. So that is what the accounting profession is changing into. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we cannot be worried or afraid about technology and the robots taking over us. We need to work with the robots. In fact, we are the ones who created the robots. Humans created the robots, right? And so it is then utilizing that to help us using our soft skills, the EQ that we have. Yeah, I think our clients are people as well. I'm quite sure they prefer talking to Sufan or Azizan or Monzi or yourself as opposed to talking to a robot. And that's where the soft skills come in. Marrying these two, I think it's where we will bring a lot more value to our clients.
Okay. Yeah, I think, wow, that's a heap a sign of relief, right? To see that we are definitely still able to, contribute. In fact, from what I can hear, in fact, as an accountant now, have been moved using AI. We have been moved to a higher value chain, right? In terms of doing the more advisory work, judgment, and so on and so forth, right? So with that, maybe I wanted to check with Sufan, given what Bonnie have just shared with us, right? Do you see how it's impact or reshape, right, those positions in the firms, like your audit? Yeah, I think a lot of our graduates out there now, I would say a big percentage of them are always gunning for the auditor's position, right? And while I always felt that it may not be everybody's cup of tea, right? But do you see that with this AI, how has it impacted the nature of the audit work, for example?
Is that a question for Azizan or me, Charlene?
For you.
For me.
Yeah, for you.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's good. I was just listening to what Bonnie was saying just now, and I agree totally. We have to humanize the finance function. The robots actually have always been there, helping us to do things. It's just that maybe they are not so high end, so we don't notice them as much. They are over, here and there, but they've always been there. If you think about that, right? We never had calculator, then we had calculator. We never had computer, then we have computer, and then laptop. So we are progressing as a profession. And what is happening is all this technology and tools are helping us to do our work better. So I agree with Bonnie in the sense that the myth and the fact, it's a bit of both. If you want to be eliminated, we can, totally. Just don't evolve, don't change, don't learn new things, continue in your set way. Whether you are accountant, lawyer, or engineer, you will be irrelevant. So the myth part would be, I think it's a bit unfair to say that accounting profession is the only one that is going to be out of fashion because, our robot friends are coming, right, or already here. But every other profession, if you don't evolve and don't work in harmony with the technology, we won't be relevant. I think that's a fact. But that's the reason why, right, I mentioned earlier about the ability to learn new things very quickly, to be curious, to manage complex problem solving. Those things are needed. You mentioned about moving up the value chain. One can't move up the value chain if you don't have the basic DNA to do that, the basic attributes and skill set for you to do that. So two types of accountants. You can be the technician, continue to be administratively, do what has been done, or you can be the trusted business advisor and pick up new things and ask hard questions, ask complex questions, bring in viewpoints to your clients. And I might say, Azizan and everyone might agree with me, that is not the easiest thing. Having a point of view, delivering a point of view, taking a position, find a good solution, not a textbook solution, a suitable solution for the client. They don't come easy. Takes confidence and takes practice and all that. So coming to audit,
Would audit positions be reduced or would they go away? A bit of both. I would say that a lot of our firms here, I'm sure, we are also outsourcing some of our work, our back-end transactional work and all that, partly to machines. We are using machines to help our work. Like Azizan mentioned about 24/7, our work papers, so to speak, right? You can actually do it anytime, anywhere. People are more efficient, people are more productive, and you can actually communicate with client real time. So that itself is really helping us to leverage, and maybe the number can come down on the human side. The other side would be using what we call onshore or nearshore or offshore GDS, the global delivery support services, the shared service, so to speak, to manage some of the more mundane or redundant work, in addition to your, your RPAs and your AIs and all that. So yes, I think the answer is a bit of that we will gradually see positions at the more entry or junior level being reduced over a period of time.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think very well said in terms of the myth and fact, and also the position, especially the audit impact on that. And having said that, there's quite a bit of question also around, if the audit position it may be reduced, exactly like you say, take away with the AI machine and all that, some of the numbers may come down and the nature may have evolved over the period. But there are people who out there and say, so what else can I explore, perhaps within the accounting profession? Maybe I invite Monsi to share. There's a few questions around, what's the difference between working as an auditor, or I'm going to tax, or even advisory? And like earlier on, what Bonnie touched on, given the business landscape out there, there could be need for people in restructuring, in consulting, in cyber security, right? So where do you see, could you share with the audience, what kind of major difference between, the audit, the tax, the advisory kind of work, right? So that to help them, to have more data point to consider, should I? Right?
Yeah, I think the thread that runs through all these three functions is that you have to service clients, right? And you need to be able to put yourself in your client's shoes, have that empathetic skills to know what your client wants in order to come up with the right solutions for them. If you're asking me about what are the key differences, obviously, technically it is, tax is tax, audit and advisory consulting, depending on what kind of consulting. It could be risk consulting, management consulting, or deals advisory type of work, right? So that would be the differentiator between the three. And it really boils down to whether that kind of topic interests the students. So they must find something that they are really interested in. I wouldn't want to use the word passion because, passion might not get you anywhere, right? You need to have that key interest in that subject in order to excel in it and to be able to gain more knowledge and build up your knowledge about it. So this would be the three key differentiator in terms of the types of business that you listed down just now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think within the accounting profession, like I say that, ultimately it is really about being client-centric mindset, right? We all in servicing clients, right? Therefore, all the soft skills will come into play, regardless of the position. And of course, like you say, technically they are slightly different. That, they can learn along the way, right?
So that's true, because because I mean, upskilling yourself constantly is also one area that they should consider. Just giving you an example of some of our auditors here, right? What other things can you do besides audit that's still within audit area? So things like data and analytics, right? We have so many of our auditors who are now repurposing themselves to become data and analytics experts. They take up certification, but it's all also grounded on audit foundation, right? So that hopefully gives the audience a different perspective of what else can they venture into once they take, they've completed their degree or professional qualification.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that, right? So now, I think, for Azizan, you've been facing client for so many years, right? And of course, you must be a die-hard fan of audit, right? To be in audit for so many years, right? Okay. So I think in your interaction with your clients so far, and even with the staff themselves who may have left, PwC, the auditing profession, and who have been able to make a very good name out there for themselves in another industry, right? What would your advice be with the onset of the IR 4.0? What could be some of the good industry or key areas that you see happening, in the businesses of your client that our young leaders out there should really pay attention to and start to move into perhaps exploit those opportunities?
Well, Choi Ling, I think just want to let you know, when I joined Pricewaterhouse back then in 1995, before PwC came, I actually applied for consultancy.
Okay.
And but then our ex-chairman then, whom I bumped into, told me, why don't you try audit? And after 3 years, once you gain experience, then you can see whether you can actually apply to move into consultancy. And 25 years later, I'm still in audit. Okay. So why is that? Because in audit, you learn so many things that you can actually apply in advising our clients. So in a way, you are still can be called as a consultant. And in fact, I get involved with a number of consultancy work as well whilst I'm in audit. So work with some of our tax people when it comes to tax restructuring and so on. So that's just want to let you know about that. So in terms of where the ex-auditors who left the profession and go into industry, to be honest with you, right, an accountant is very flexible. You do not need to be an accountant forever. Okay, and because when you work as an auditor, especially, what do? You learn about a certain client's business, and when you learn the client business, it's actually from cradle to grave, from A to Z. You learn about the processes from ordering all the way until the payments that you receive from your customer if you sell, or when you raise a purchase order until you make payments to the supplier. And along the way, you probably find areas where there are some weaknesses in your clients, where you can actually learn from that and apply when you move on into the industry. Okay, so that means what most of ex-auditors do when they go into the industry, they don't stay in finance. No, they either go into operations. Some of my friends or some of even my juniors eventually become CEOs, COOs, CFOs, and so on. So they don't actually stick in finance, but they move into management. And because of the valuable experience and knowledge that they gain throughout their career as an auditor, they could actually apply those when they work in the industry. And because you know why? Because they're able to tell stories behind numbers. I keep on using this, tell stories behind numbers, because the numbers basically is like a report card. And you can actually see where the areas that they can actually focus on. If, let's say, they want to be more efficient, they want to improve profitability, they want to be, fix some of their weaknesses and so on. So, so they can go anywhere, and some of them eventually become their own business. I've got one of my relatives who's used to work in KPMG, was an auditor. Now he's a CEO of his own company. So there you go. That's the reason why, if you look into the industry, so many former CEOs and COOs or the C-suites, they are ex-auditors. Okay.
Okay, yeah, well said. So for all our audience out there, your accounting degree or the professional certification, it is very useful. But how you're going to build your career, it all depends on your own mindset, your courage to explore new abilities, to learn, unlearn, relearn new things, right? And I guess there are many paths that you can choose to go forward. Okay, so now
I think, Choi Ling, I think now I read the question. I think I didn't answer the question, isn't it? Whereas do you see an accounting graduates can kickstart their career with an accounting professional? So I think right now most of the graduates they are worried about whether there are jobs available for them when they graduate, right? What I can actually tell them is do not be so worried about it. When I graduated in 1993, that was the time when UK was in recession. And I actually applied for articleship to do chartered training with ICAW. So I went for interviews and I got rejected by all the firms because they said that I did not qualify due to the requirement to obtain work permit in order to reside and work in the UK. Because at that time, I still remember most of the accounting firm cut their vacancies by half due to the recession. So obviously they prioritize the locals rather than the foreigners. So what did I do? So after my degree, I decided to do my ACCA because I wanted to buy time. At the same time, I work in Burger King, fried chicken, fast food. When I finished my ACCA, I continued working because I waited for the right opportunity to start on my real work. So it took me 2 years. I came back to Malaysia in 1995 and I joined Pricewaterhouse. So that means you do not have to worry because it happened to me. So all you need to do is just be patient because there are times where actually recession happen almost every 10 years.
Yeah.
So happen that now is the time. If it's not because of COVID-19, it will not be where we are right now. So unfortunately, because of COVID-19, but there were still signs, because the market was under pressure, especially because of the problem between America and China and everything. So it was about to happen, and then suddenly COVID-19 basically accelerated it. So my advice I want to give to all the future leaders, just be patient. You can actually look for other opportunities, other careers. You can like there are some industries are really doing very well. They're probably hiring. You can you can try and apply finance there, or you can actually do other things like what I did. I sold burger. So and selling burger, I was able to learn certain skills like how to deal with customers, because it's the same thing. Because customers is always right. So when you work as an auditor, you got to make sure that you don't think that the client is not right all the time, because we have to put ourselves in their shoe to understand their problems. So that was very helpful because I actually used that when I was being interviewed by Pricewaterhouse. So they asked me, what did I learn? So I said, the client is always right. So I need to make sure that I understand their problem and see how I can actually resolve that problem. So that's my 2 cents lah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that personal journey. I'm sure that sort of bring a lot of good insights, right? About how do you find ways, in times when you face with challenge. And I'm sure like what Azizan say, and I think the rest of the panelists was nodding their head, that every 10 years, right, there's going to be a recession, the finance bubble bursts, right? So the good thing is, I guess all crises won't last, right? And today is pandemic 19. Who knows? Few months down the road, it could be pandemic 2029, right? So there's always new changes. And I always say that we are always facing this, we are in a woodcar world. Woodcar being, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, that we are facing each and every day. So perhaps what I would like to invite the panel, to share with the audience out there, what is one growth mindset, that they need to adopt and adapt in order to navigate with all these constantly evolving new realities, right, in finding their path at the end of the day. Who would Bonnie like to, or Monsi like to start?
Sure, perhaps I'll go first. I think growth mindset is where it is, right? That you have to constantly learn, constantly look at what is needed in the market, what is out there, what is in the demand at the moment, and search for that. And make sure you upskill yourself with those kind of skill sets that the market is looking for. I understand that right now during the pandemic, job market is tough, but really, like what Azizan shared, it doesn't really matter that you do not get your dream job at this moment. And don't beat yourself over it either. It is tough, but really every single job opportunity that is offered to you, take it, because there's always learning points there, hence growth mindset. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to share that the ABC approach right now that you might want to consider taking is, first, get a job. Any job. Could be Burger King, like what Azizan did. Yeah. And then you can look forward to getting a better job. B, for a better job. Because you would have upskill in certain ways, you've gained certain things. And then look into building a career. C, later on. There will be times are moving, the market is changing, the good times will come back. And you are young, so gain all the things that you can grab onto. They will all these kind of skill sets will be useful to you, and you may not know it now. Yes, you may not know it now. If you think about it, if you were to say go into one of the upcoming industries now, I mean, be it glove manufacturer, mask manufacturer, or any of all these things, it may not be an accounting job, you may not be in the finance department, but look, if you're learning how manufacturers work, how do processes come in, how do they manage risk, this is what auditors do as well. When we audit a glove manufacturing company, we learn their business inside out. So it's just it's coming in from a different angle.
Okay.
So
Right.
ABC.
All right. Wow. I love that. ABC, right?
Yeah, maybe I should continue DEF,
Yeah.
right? No, I don't have an acronym for it, but I think the growth mindset that maybe the students need to adapt, but it's actually adaptability, right? Maybe closely linked to being agile, flexibility, because of the rapid state of change, and technology just keeps changing, right? Every couple of months you see something new, but that being able to adapt and to learn and also reskill yourself, I think that would be one growth mindset that they need to continue to take note of. And again, just like the example that I shared, where a few of our auditors, have kind of like repurposed themselves, not just being an auditor, but also a big data analyst, that will help our clients also navigate through their tons of data that they have with them, and to go through that robustness in churning out data that makes sense for them, that value adds to them. I think repurposing themselves as another role that is closely linked to audit would be also part of that growth mindset journey that they need to undertake.
All right. Thank you for the advice there. Su Fen.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just listening to the question, right? The question before this was so linking the two. The question before was, what can an accounting graduate do besides the accounting profession? Within the accounting profession, if it's not audit, right? And I find that question a little bit intriguing, in the sense that that's kind of traditional. You have to go to uni or college to study what you eventually will do as a career. Which is not really some of the philosophy. Some of us here may not have the same philosophy, in the sense that if you think about where the Western world has been, people would do Egyptology, geology, fine art, history, and then how do you make a living out of, Egyptology and things like that? It is not so much of that. It's really out of interest that they have done that. But they could become an investment banker eventually by studying Egyptology, because going to college and university basically helps you to think better, to be able to define problem statement maybe, or to find the right answers to the problems at hand. And that's what employers are looking for, right? So I think the first thing is, before we get to the growth mindset, is to not get ourselves boxed into, I studied accounting, I must get into an accounting related, whether it's job or career or work, right? Doesn't have to be. anything and everything is possible. Plus, at the age of 22, if you're not lucky, you work until 60, right? So some of us are approaching that. I'm not sure that is lucky or unlucky, or choice or not choice, but honestly, what's the problem of doing something that you enjoy now, which may not be accounting? It could be flower arrangement. It could be something hotel related. Maybe wrong example. Hotel is not very good now. Flower arrangement or something in the well-being, life sciences bit, right? So that's one thing. Keep yourselves flexible in what you can do. Leading to growth mindset. Having been, I think if you have to be at peace with what you cannot change now, then what's next? Really, if you've heard of Charles Darwin's saying, right, it's not the fittest who survived. It's really those who actually can evolve the fastest. Dinosaurs are so strong, they've died, right? But things, I don't know what evolved, but I think dodo bird, maybe they evolved, they are still alive, maybe, I don't know, is dodo still alive? But it's really those who can evolve very quickly to keep with the time and the sign who will do better, right? So maybe I'll give you one example. A family friend is in the business of high fashion, expensive stuff and all the branded stuff you see in Pavilion. They are in that. But during the pandemic, right, nobody shops. You don't need Gucci and Prada to sit at home, right? You need shorts and t-shirts. So what have they done? They've pivoted very quickly. Guess what? Gloves. And continue to do well, I would say do well, inverted comma, right, in their business. So it's about pivoting and evolving very quickly in order to survive. So, to the young students out there, we have our own kids at home. We say the same thing to our own children, not just to you. It's really not to be too bothered with what you cannot change. Is to manage the situation and find silver lining and evolve with the time.
Okay. Wow. Very well said, Sufan. Thank you. I hope the audience out there, really picking this up. Last but not least, Azizan.
Okay, I'm going to make it very simple. When I joined the firm in 1995, one of my batchmate who joined at the same time, he was 31 years old when he joined at the same time as me. And he was actually a lecturer because at that time he said that was the only job that he could find. And then he decided to change his career and try to be an auditor. And he is now currently a CFO of one of our clients. Okay. And there is another guy I met when I went for a meeting in London. And I had a chat with him when I was having a meeting. And he told me how long he had been in the firm, but he looked a little bit old. So I asked him, so where were you working before you joined PwC? And he said that he was in the army, because at that time, that was the only job that he was able to apply. And then he worked until he became a captain. And then he quit, and then he tried ICAW to try and become a chartered accountant. And when I had a meeting with him, he was already a partner. So I think I rest my case lah.
Yeah, it's about the willingness and courage, right? Yeah, to try and explore the opportunities. Okay, thank you so much for all these gems of wisdom. Yeah, the panelists have shared with all of you, and we, I think, almost come to the end of our 90-minute session. So let me just quickly sum up. Right, I think, as you can see, right, the accounting profession, just like the panelists have shared, right, is transforming, is evolving. We need to invigorate, right? We need to be agile. So similarly for you, right, it's important to transform, to evolve, to follow with what's happening, in the market now, to invigorate yourself with new skills, right, and to be agile, to adapt and adopt. Right, so you know about the state of play of the market now, in the accounting firm, and there are some bright spots in the industry beyond the accounting firm that you definitely can explore and exploit, for that matter, right? You do hear some of the good tips and best practices in terms of when you're applying for a job, where to look for the skill set, and what are some of the skill set that the firms are looking for, including some of those evergreen. Doesn't matter whether you're in the accounting profession or in some other profession, that will always bode well for you. So I would say that, job hunting is really a focused and a committed activities. It's not about you taking up a resume and send to 200 employers out there and wait for the result, right? You need to be committed, right? To really look at the job description. Do I have what it is, the courage, and to adapt your resume towards what is required by the employer, right? And in fact, one of my good friend in the firm shared with me that in a recent research, right, people say that it takes approximately 15 application, minimum 15 application before you actually hit a job. All right. So, well, that is the statistic, but it sort of gives you an idea, right? So do not be discouraged or disheartened if you get a rejection letter. Okay. So these are extraordinary time. Yeah. I always say that it's very unusual time, and therefore it does call for extraordinary action from you, right? Think out of the box. It's a time that calls for flexibility, creativity, and resilience to find your path and opportunities and charge forward. Like the saying always go, right? The going gets tough, the tough gets going. I believe you can be the tough one out there. All right. So I would like to end the session now. A big heartfelt thanks to my panelists for their really good wisdom and insights sharing with the team, as well, a very candid point of view in terms of the state of play, of the market, and how they, the wisdom they have. There are really some really good gems out there. All right. So before I end the session, perhaps I just get the panelists to just say a last word of encouragement to the team. Anybody? Yeah. Monsi?
I'll start first, yeah. Sure. I think, never give up, right? There's an old Chinese saying, I don't know whether you all know this. Actually it translates to ride an ox or a buffalo whilst you're looking for a horse. Ultimately, you want a horse, right? Very strong horse to ride the journey. So just take whatever that comes your way, and learn from it. I mean, there are many lessons to be learned in whatever short jobs that you hold. I mean, even the Burger King example, right? So do that and don't give up. I think be resilient. Don't give up. It's not the end of the world. Okay, if you don't get that dream job yet. All right. Good luck.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'll go next. Okay. Well, I'll say that remember, every cloud has a silver lining. So go for that silver lining. And if it means that dark cloud is going to be so big and it takes a lot more time for you to reach that silver lining, go for it. Make that step and just dare to try. If you fail, you learn from it and you try again. So the first step is to do it and try.
Okay.
So for me, Choi Ling, I would say this too shall pass. I'll say this too shall pass, as with all the hardships and challenges that we've seen, this too shall pass, right? So we will adopt a glass half full view on the situation. Now, I know that, there are close to 200 students on the call here. And for some out there, it could be a blessing because it means that we have time for family, time for loved ones, time to pause, time to maybe love ourselves a bit more, and time for hobbies and all that. So that is well and good for those who have the privilege to do that. But I also know that there are some who may not have the privilege to say that, I can pause and do all these things because I need to help the family, put food on the table and all that. And that's a reality. And jobs are going to be a bit harder to come by, at least in the next 2 quarters of this financial year or calendar year. Take whatever that comes your way. Azizan spoke about Burger. I think Burger is really the theme here. Our country managing partner, Datuk Raouf, if you don't know, also worked in McDonald's when he was in London. And 24 application letters before he actually got a job. So, you know, just go for the job, put food on the table, and be patient and look for something that will be your choice when the good time comes. Yeah.
Good. Last but not least, Susan.
Okay, I think I echo everyone. Just be patient, be resilient, try and look elsewhere while during this time, and good things come to those who wait.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Right. With that, we thank you for your present, all the audience out there. We hope that they have given you lots of gems to think about. So find your path and charge forward. Thank you. So with that, I invite our panelists to take a picture together. Okay. Okay, are we done? Okay, we're done already. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. Thank you for your time. Right. Okay.
Thank you,
Bye
Choi Ling, for
bye.
moderating.
All the best.
All
Bye
right.
bye. All the best. Good
Thank
luck.
you.